PJ Masks is a children's show that follows the adventures of three young friends who transform into superheroes at night to fight crime and save the day. The creators of PJ Masks have stated that the show is intended to be a fun and educational experience for children, teaching them about teamwork, problem solving, and the importance of standing up for what is right. But not everyone is convinced. Fans of the show have come up with some crazy conclusions, wild theories, and a whole bunch of spooky tales. Get ready to dive into the top 10 scary PJ Masks theories we can no longer ignore. Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have the PJ Robot. PJ Robot is often overlooked as a vital member of the PJ Masks team. However, his involvement with the group is quite interesting. He was initially created by the villainous Dr. Romeo as a spy to gather information and ensure that the PJ Masks did not interfere with his evil plans. Despite Romeo's intentions, PJ Robot became friends with the team and chose to abandon his former boss and join the crime-fighting crew. But what if Romeo had planned it all along? What if he programmed PJ Robot to befriend the PJ Masks from the beginning, knowing that they would take him in? With PJ Robot on the inside, Romeo would have access to information about the PJ Masks' movements, allowing him to stay one step ahead of them. This would be a sneaky move on Romeo's part, and it would add an interesting twist to the story. In our number 9 spot today, we have The Strangers. The Strangers is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. This may be an unpopular opinion, but I simply do not care. It is so scary. I've seen it multiple times, and it freaks me out every single time. You might be wondering why I am talking about a scary movie when this is supposed to be a list on PJ Masks, but I promise it has relevance. One theory circulating the internet about PJ Masks is that Catboy, Owlette, and Gecko are actually a representation of the three main characters in The Strangers. According to this theory, Catboy represents Dollface, Owlette represents Pinup Girl, and Gecko represents the Man in the Mask. Supporters of this theory claim that there are similarities between the characters, such as their physical appearances and abilities, as well as their methods of terrorizing their victims. I'm going to be honest, that really is quite a terrifying theory. I would definitely like to think that those deranged evil people are not who the PJ Masks went on to be, but at the end of the day, who am I to say for sure? In our number 8 spot today, we have mind control. This is a theory that has to do with an evil force that some people believe is taking over the main PJ Masks characters. According to this theory, the three main characters of the show, Catboy, Owlette, and Gecko, are actually being controlled by an evil force that is manipulating their thoughts and actions. This theory suggests that the villains in the show are not really evil, but are actually trying to free the PJ Masks from the mind control. The theory goes on to suggest that the PJ Masks are completely unaware of the mind control and that they believe they are fighting for the greater good. The theory has gained some traction among fans of the show who have pointed to various clues and inconsistencies in the series that suggest that the PJ Masks are being controlled. Could it be true? Are the heroes actually being controlled by a supervillain? This could explain the many adventures they go on, always encountering something that is trying to stop them. This really is one of those perception does not equal reality kind of situations. In our number 7 spot today, we have The Nightmare. Another theory surrounding the animated show PJ Masks is that the main characters, Catboy, Owlette, and Gecko, I'm gonna say it every time, are actually trapped inside of a nightmare. This theory suggests that the entire show is a manifestation of their worst fears and anxieties as they trouble to escape the nightmare and find their way back to reality. Some fans who believe in this theory point to the fact that the villains in the show, such as Romeo and Luna Girl, are also portrayed as surreal and menacing, further supporting the idea that the entire world of PJ Masks is a twisted and frightening nightmare. Additionally, the theory suggests that the characters' powers and abilities are actually manifestations of their dream state, allowing them to navigate the nightmare world and battle their fears. In our number 6 spot today, we have I, Robot. PJ Masks trio operates exclusively at night, leaving no time for sleep as they also attend school during the day. This raises the question of how how they manage to function without rest. One theory suggests that they are robots created by their arch-nemesis Romeo. It is believed that Romeo built each member of the PJmasks team in his laboratory and endowed them with the ability to think, learn, and experience human emotions. His intention was to use them to conquer the world, but he did not anticipate that they would have kind hearts and thwart his plans. As a result, Romeo holds a grudge against them even though he considers them his greatest work. This theory proposes that Romeo unknowingly created sentient beings, and now he must contend with them as his sworn enemies. It would be an interesting twist if the show followed this storyline. In our number 5 spot today we have The Experiment. This theory suggests that Catboy, Owlette, and Gecko are actually part of a government experiment. According to this theory, the 3 kids were chosen by the government to be injected with a serum that gives them superpowers. The government then monitors the PJmasks' activities, using them as a tool to fight crime and protect the city. I mean, I personally could see this one being true because this is definitely like a fairly famous superhero plot in other hero universes. Supporters of this theory point to the PJmasks' high-tech gadgets and costumes as evidence of government involvement, as well as their strict adherence to following rules and orders. Some also speculate that the PJmasks' arch-nemesis Romeo may also be a part of the same government program, but went rogue. While PJmasks appears as just a show about 3 regular people who become superheroes at night to stop villains and save the day, not everyone is so convinced. At this point, however, the show's creators have not hinted at any government involvement or experimentation. In our number 4 spot today we have Imagination Station. This theory suggests that the villains seen in PJmasks are not actually real villains, but are instead imagined by the young heroes. According to this theory, the PJmasks characters are all just children who are pretending to be superheroes while playing a game, and the villains they face are just figments of their imagination. Supporters of this theory point to various pieces of evidence, such as the fact that the villains always seem to disappear without a trace after being defeated, and why they never seem to cause any real harm. Also, how their lairs are often depicted as being constructed out of everyday household items. Supporters of this theory also point to the fact that the characters are never seen interacting with other people, suggesting that they exist in their own private world. Another interesting point to consider is the fact that the characters' costumes are very basic and homemade looking. This could suggest that they are not actually superheroes, but rather just kids using their imaginations to play pretend. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, this theory has gained traction among some fans of the show who enjoy exploring alternative interpretations of the story. While it may not be the intended interpretation of the show, it certainly is interesting to consider. In our number 3 spot today we have Purgatory. This theory is quite dark, definitely not one that everyone wants to hear. It is that the characters have actually passed away and the adventures they are having are taking place in the afterlife. The theory suggests that the 3 main characters, Catboy, Owlette, and Gecko, are trapped in a purgatory-like state where they must fight against the forces of evil to earn their way to heaven. The villains they face, such as Romeo and Luna Girl, are said to represent the sins and temptations that they must overcome in order to reach paradise. This theory gained traction on various social media platforms and fan forums, with many fans analyzing the show for clues to support the theory. However, the show's creators and official sources have not acknowledged or confirmed this theory, and it remains purely speculative and not supported by any evidence. Ultimately, it appears to be a creative interpretation by fans seeking to add a darker twist to the beloved show. In our number 2 spot today we have Government Control. I love a good wooey conspiracy theory, and this is definitely one of those. This dark theory suggests that PJmasks is actually a real government conspiracy aimed at brainwashing children. The theory claims that the show is designed to promote obedience, conformity, and a sense of dependency on authority figures. Supporters of this theory argue that the show's messages and themes are carefully crafted to instill these values in children, and that the show's creators are working with the government to achieve this goal. There is no evidence to support this theory, and it is widely considered to be false and baseless. PJmasks is simply a popular show aimed at entertaining and educating young viewers, and there is no reason to believe that it is part of any kind of sinister plot or government conspiracy. As with many other popular shows and franchises. There are bound to be wild and unfounded theories. And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have spy training. For this one, we have a totally different take on the whole government experiment thing, and this one is actually my personal favorite. This theory suggests that the show is actually a social experiment conducted by a secret government organization to train children to become spies. According to this theory, the villains in the show are not really villains, but rather they are acting out certain scenarios to help the child viewers learn problem-solving skills and develop critical thinking abilities. The theory goes on to suggest that the show is actually a tool for the government to train the next generation of agents. It's giving major Spy Kids energy. While I don't necessarily think that this theory is based in any reality, who wouldn't want to be secretly trained to be a spy? I thought spy training would be grueling work, not just fun, brightly colored children's entertainment. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I will see you again soon. Bye!